don't think we're up here. Oh, we're up. Okay. Righto. 6:30. We'll start her off then. Open the meeting. Apologies. Don't have any. Leave of absence. Don't have any. Absence. Don't have any. Confirmation of council minutes. Recommendation of the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held 22 January 25 and the special council meeting held Tuesday 4th February 25 be taken as read and confirmed. Moved by Neville. Seconded by David. Anyone got any questions? All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. So that takes straight to page 18. So the Mayor's opening remark. In that, I am just going to thank the participants that came in for our workshop just then on rates. I think it was good questions, and good to have some people in asking questions. I'm not sure if we've received any written submissions, but we'll get that in due course. I'll also table, there's been, for those that will be aware, there's been some issues around a fence that was put up on Chandos Terrace, and there was some damage to that fence. Council's received a written letter of apology from Mr. Sherman for the damage to that fence, and also a copy of a letter that was written to Mr. Ranke for the damage of that fence as well. So we acknowledge and table those letters in the agenda, in the minutes.
Yes, so I can.
Do I need a motion for that?
Yes, I think we need a motion
I will move that we table those letters and have them included in the minutes. Can I have a seconder, please? Luke. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Declarations of conflict of interest. Anyone have any? Nope. Petitions. We don't have any. Declarations. We don't have any. Glass of water. We have some.
Yep.
Presentations. We don't have any. So 9 elected members report. Mayoral update. Obviously, I'll put mine out there. Don't think there's anything. Probably the only thing I would add to that is to say that the Australia Day ceremonies that I attended in Pinaroo and Geranium, and I know Chris attended here at Lameroo, and congratulations to him for his award. And there was lots of worthy recipients, but I think the important thing was the community spirit, the feel, the participation was really good at both places that I was at, and I know Chris said the same here. Yeah, I just thought it was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I don't know, it's something I can't quite articulate, but the sense of community that was on display at both places was really heartwarming. So I think that's good for our community, bodes well. The rest, I don't think there's anything worth mentioning. That was the particular. Move the council receive and note the content of this report. So obviously it's my report, so I'll move it. The seconder, Trevor, all those in favour? Any questions first? Sorry, no, in favour. Against? Carried. Thank you. 9.2 elected members reports. Does anyone have any?
Yeah, I'll just back up what you said there, Ron. It was very well received here at Lameroo, and also already emphasised in my first address to everyone that get involved when we do our public meetings. Come along, have your say. We are here for you guys, for the public of this district. So please use us. If there's something you're not sure about, you don't understand, you're not happy with, by all means go through the channels. I reiterated that even though our processes have some flaws, we do have processes to go through that stage first. And then if you're not getting out adequate answers from that, contact any one of us members, then we can follow things up for you. That was well received afterwards. So good feedback.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I had a CAP meeting, the assessment panel meeting. It was pretty uneventful. It was just like governance stuff. There was an error with the delegation. We sent them a couple of meetings ago. It listed 5 CAP members, not 4. It's going to get sent back to us and will probably pop up in meetings. Oh, that exciting. Also had a hack meeting, which was the hospital one. It was my first one. It was pretty informative and pretty relevant. I think there's some good opportunities for us to maybe collaborate with them, I reckon. Some of the other panel members did give off a bit of a vibe of being disenfranchised with council, so hopefully it's something this we can overturn. They're running some pretty good programs through the year for the public, catering to health topics such as local midwife care, which we currently don't have. skin cancer things and quite a few other things. I think it'd be pretty beneficial to us. And it wouldn't cost us anything if we could help advertise these, because I've never heard of any of them. I'm not sure if you guys have had much to do, but they're pretty good things and they're paying for it all for free. So.
What was it, sorry?
So they run these programs every year, so these ones, they're thinking of getting midwife care in, some skin cancer checks at the Pinaroo show, a couple other things, so I've never heard of doing this stuff.
If I may, through the chair, look, happy to take that on board,
Yeah.
and there's those issues that you come across during your meetings, flick them across.
Yeah.
I'm not here, the CEO, and we can put them on our socials and on our webpage. It's all community-based stuff, so that's what we can certainly promote that.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good thing to do, and I had no idea about it, so
I'd
good on them.
comment on that too, that I follow the local health network on Facebook, and certainly there's lots of posts come through from them about things that the local health network are doing, so I'm imagining that some of those things would come across on that, but it's a really quite an active Facebook page that comes along, and just loads of stuff and those types of things.
Yeah.
So they're very good.
A couple of members of the panel expressed their disappointment at the council decision to remove the dentist. They said it has severely impacted the level of dental care in the community, particularly for the seniors, and that the new dental van is a bit difficult to book and deal with, and it just doesn't offer the full range of options they had before. Something else interesting was the topic of staff accommodation that they have. They have 4 recently renovated units in Pinaroo, 2 houses in the town, as well as 8 nurses accommodation things. It wasn't quite clear how much they utilised, but I got the gist that it's barely used. So I think there is a very good opportunity there for us, potentially with some staff accommodation there. I'm sure they wouldn't be against getting a bit of income for something that's not being used.
And if I may again, sorry, cutting across you, the mayor has asked me to ring the networks, the
Chief Executive
chief executive officer of the health
network.
Yep, I've spoken to him about the accommodation and how fully utilised it is. He obviously didn't have that in his back pocket.
Yeah.
He's got to get back to me about that to see whether any of those accommodation, whether units or houses are available. And from there we can move forward if possible and see whether we can use some of them.
Was that Wayne Champion?
Yeah,
You'd be better off getting back to him.
that's the best place to start, and then it can go forward from there.
This is a bit relevant to what we're talking about later, but I think some of these options could be probably better than the retirement village, because they're going to be around people of their own demographic, and there's potential for multi-family houses and things like that. So yeah, I thought that was pretty good. Whether it works out or not, who knows? It was just something I know. That's all I've got. Yeah.
Probably one note on that, Cam, I think there's some pretty good stuff in there. It'll be well worth putting a written report in.
Yeah.
Whether it's for this one or just in the future, because I think there's a lot of detail that could come across with that. If you just send it through by, do you want to do a reminder out to the committee members, the same as you do for me?
Yep.
Just to say there's a time due for a report, and that way if you've done anything that's of significance, put a report in, because that way it gets in the agenda, but most importantly, you can get your detail across. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. David?
Nothing. I won't ever have anything because we never have anything to do with the river.
Cool. Chris just made me think of something, and I will just cover back off, so I know I haven't a second bite of the cherry, but that was on the mayor's report, and that's at Pinaroo and Geranium. But at Pinaroo, my chat was mostly on the lines of get to talk to a lot of itinerant workers coming through, transient workers, and I reflected on the fact of how unbelievable they think our district is and what it's got to offer, the affordability, the compared to where they come from in different countries, the freedom and the accessibility to things. Sometimes when we live here, we can get a bit blinkered because we start to see the negative in everything. And I just said to people, well worth talking to some of those people and just realising how good we've still got it. And a lot of people thought that was something they would like to do. So cool, thank you, everybody. So we need to move that the elected members' reports are received and noted. So I'm happy to move it. Trevor seconded it. All those in favour? Against? Carried, thank you. 10 reports from committees, there aren't any. So 11.1 Pinaroo Retirement Village, Shiloh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So this report addresses two things with regard to the Pinaroo Retirement Village. The first being that we need to look at formally endorsing the land on the certificate of titles as a retirement village. And the second thing that council might like to explore is an exemption under the Act that will allow a unit within the Pinaroo Retirement Village to be used for general rental market. You're probably already pretty familiar now with the retirement village, so I won't go too much into the report and stuff that's there. I'll just read the recommendations for you. Recommendation 1 is the council receives and notes the report on the retirement village. 2, the council complies with the Retirement Villages Act by ensuring the land used for the Pinaroo Retirement Village is endorsed on such on the certificates of title. Sorry, and 3, council seeks an exemption under the Retirement Villages Act 2016 for Unit 3, Pinaroo Retirement Village to be used as general rental market, and that the application is prepared and forwarded by the CEO to the Office of Ageing Well and the Minister.
Thank you very much. So I have a mover, put it on, then we'll talk about it. Yeah. Neville, seconder, Chris. Chris, anything you want to say?
No, I'm pretty.
Campbell?
I got a bit of a spiel.
Yep.
Sorry again.
That's right.
So yeah, for me, using the retirement village staff accommodation doesn't make financial sense, and we haven't explored better options. I prefer the retirement village to continue as is for a number of reasons. There's a current need for it in the community, and the need is expected to grow. The retirement village, I think, is financially solid. Housing regular people will result in less money, and the accommodation isn't really ideal for council staff. I think there are better options. So communities have a need for retirement villages. Ratepayers who get to an age where they can no longer live on the farm or maintain a large house or getting lonely in their old age, they're still too independent for a nursing home. They need an option like this. They still want to be part of the community they work to create. So I think putting all these people together too makes it easier for the services to get to them, like Meals on Wheels, your OTs, your nurses, all that kind of stuff. And I think diluting this isn't a great idea. And as we've got an aging population in Australia, particularly in the small towns, the need for retirement villages is only going to go up. So I think the financial numbers for the village are pretty solid. They were skewed in the recent report by the large number of big renovations we had in the last 5 years. If you look at this scenario for the 35 or whatever years this thing has been there, where there were no major renovations, it would be a completely different story. I don't think it didn't seem to include any lump sum moves that residents paid. But if you think about it in your farms, if in the last 5 years you bought a new header, a new sprayer, new seeder, and then you only looked at the last 5 years on whether the business was profitable, it probably wouldn't be profitable. I think we need to look at this at a much bigger thing. So this is my kind of area of expertise. And like, if you had a business like this as a private person where you had residents paying a high weekly rental when compared to other markets, like you got a single bedroom here that is paying the same price as like the CEO house in Parilla, it's crazy good. They stay in the property a long time, like 5 to 10 years, which means low downtime with no rent being received. They've got guaranteed income. They also contribute to the cost of renovating the apartment before they move in. No other renter does this. These guys are like unicorns. Like, we're not doing this to make money, we're doing it to provide a service, but if we change this from having retirees in there to regular people, it will probably like make less money. And again, I don't think the accommodation is suitable for council staff. We need multiple bedroom housing to attract and retain staff. Staff need to be able to move here with their families. The lifestyles of the staff are also less compatible with the retirees. Those that are here for the work week and go home, they are notoriously difficult to keep around, as we've recently seen, as other councils have experienced. Providing them with accommodation where their friends and family can visit, I think is pretty important so we can retain those guys. I don't think the retirement village is great for this. So yeah, like I mentioned before in the other report, there are other housing options which we haven't explored. I don't think we've explored much other than going straight to this retirement village. The school also has 2 very good condition houses at the moment, which aren't being used. They all have permanent staff, so they're not likely to be used for quite a while. These would be ideal for staff accommodation. Police and emergency workers and health staff collaborate on these housing issues. I don't see why council can't get in with this. So I know that this motion isn't about getting rid of the retirement village, but opening up one unit is kind of the start of maybe heading in that direction. And I think we need to be better informed about the financials and to explore better options for staff accommodation first before I would vote for this to happen. But if we did those things and this was the only viable option, I'd be happy to support it, but I don't think we're quite there yet. So I want to hear what you guys have to say first, but I think it's better that we amend the motion to receive a financial report on the retirement village over a longer period, and also a comparison of the financial implications if we went to non-retirees. Also that we move to approach the Department of Education and the local hospitals, which it seems like we've already started doing, or any other ideas anyone has about collaboration and staff housing before we go to these more drastic measures. Sorry, it's a bit of a ramble, but I like to make sure I get everything.
Yeah.
David?
I thought you'd be persuaded by Campbell's argument, and maybe we haven't costed it out properly.
Sorry.
And other options, yeah, so that's. Yeah. There might be other ways of doing it, but that was just, it seemed like it was just a short-term measure just to get it through. And maybe there is a better way of doing it. So, yeah.
And I just think the unit's been hard to fill, get someone to go in them, so I think if we let someone else go in them, they won't go to wrecking room or someone's living in them, so we're not just saying we're never going to use the poll packs again, but if we can use it and utilise it, we might as well, rather than having it in there empty and going to wrecking room, so.
Luke?
I mean, I probably have a different view completely. I'd rather sell them off completely because we're not into medical or housing or, well, yeah. We're not meant to be doing that. So yeah, I'm happy with what we're doing.
I just think it's giving us an option for a time. I don't think it's necessarily restricted to not being aged care still on it. Yeah, that's just giving us an option with a seat. It doesn't mean it has to always be that way. Like if the elderly person's available to use it, there's no reason why they can't get access to it.
Can I just ask a question, Laura?
Yeah.
Are we currently advertising this unit for?
My understanding is, not for that particular unit we had previously, and we're unable to fill it, is my understanding, but you know, if I may be missing out or something here, sure, but that was the information
Previously, you couldn't fill it.
Was there any advertising outside of the local area?
Yep, we went down, we did Murray Valley Standard, we did Border Times, and we did on other paper as well.
Nothing online?
We had it on our websites and stuff, but nothing.
Nothing on like a real estate?
No.
So, yeah, look, probably the only thing I would add is in line with what Trevor just said. I mean, this, we have to understand there's two parts to this. So obviously doing the certificate title, that has to happen because that should have happened years ago. The second part was, or the third part, is that's been done as a reaction to a need. We needed to accommodate Ben to have him working here. There wasn't any rental accommodation that was available other than trying to squeeze a house, as in a retail house. The stuff with schools and hospitals and that, yes, that's something that we are pursuing, but understanding they're all state government entities and we're not. And they don't tend to rent outside. And if they have a preferred need, then obviously you go, they stay.
Yeah, we've got a schoolhouse at Geranium that's vacant because they only went out to education.
Correct. So I just, the caveat is that we needed to do this and we needed to do it now, which is what Lachlan did, so that we could accommodate Ben. I agree with Trevor. I don't think it means that forevermore something has to be this way, but I think the piece about do we provide this as an ongoing service, that's a whole different discussion, and this is not the first step to that path. This is a reaction to a need, and I think even the exemption is probably going to have some ties around it from a government perspective. So yeah, that's my view on it. But I hear what Campbell's saying, and yeah, we always want to be pursuing other options, but I mean, the amount of staff that you may need to accommodate is way beyond one unit potentially. And if housing is a thing, well, that's going to be a whole different matter again. Okay.
So I'm going to move a variation then, or amendment or whatever it is to number 3 there, that we postpone this until we get a better financial report on how the retirement village is doing over a long period.
I just want to get a clarification. Now that we've,
Sorry, it's just English shown to catch up there, so.
yeah, but I just want to get a clarification just in the technical, with the fact that we've moved it and seconded to get it on the table. Does this need to fail? Can a motion be put up now?
An amendment could be put.
It can. I just want to, that's all I want to make sure was the technical. bit.
Can.
So we'll have to do these individually.
You want number 1 and 2 to stay the same?
Yeah,
And then just,
We could put one up as well if you really wanted to.
Get rid of it completely.
No.
what's your
That requires a lot.
number 3, Campbell?
We postpone seeking the exemption until we get a more detailed financial report.
So I think it's I'm just thinking about the technical aspects. I'm not sure that Ben can be living there if we do that. We're already, Lachlan made us aware that, this was skirting that.
Compliance is a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
There's nothing against you, but.
No, I just mean
There is a better option.
And to what type of financial report?
A more detailed.
What would be better off is putting out a more detailed report on options.
Detailed analysis of something, that's not.
Financial report provided and. Sorry. And alternative. Accommodation options have been explored.
But in the meantime, what happens, I guess?
Comes back with me. Alright, so let's change these as, so. Yeah, so we've separated them out into 3 now so that we can deal with them 1, 2, 3. Or is it because it's an amendment on 3?
Amendment on, is it amendment only on 3 or is it?
Just on 3
We could take 1 and 2.
and separate them out.
1 and 2 as a combined, and then we could do 3 as a separate.
Well, let's just do all 3 of them, because if the amendment doesn't get up, then it goes back to the other one.
That's right.
Yeah, so
Correct.
let's just do them as 3. I'm happy to read them out. So the council receives a notice of report on Pinaroo Retirement Village. All those in favour?
Oh, sorry, you didn't say.
Oh, yeah,
Do you want them all together, eh?
no, separately, because otherwise we can't separate them out.
Oh,
Well, we need a.
well, Campbell's moved an amendment.
We've
We've got to deal with the amendments first.
We've got to deal with the amendment.
So we've got,
You need a second for the amendment, don't you?
Yeah, you have a second at first.
If it doesn't get up, then it's not.
well, it goes back to the other one anyway, so let's just do it as an amended 3.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so the amendment is, 1, council receives a notice of report on Pinaroo Retirement Village. 2, the council complies with the Retirement Village Act 2016 by ensuring the land use for the Pinaroo Retirement Village is endorsed as such on the certificates of title. And 3, that we postpone seeking an exemption under the Retirement Villages Act 2016 for Unit 3 Pinaroo until a more detailed financial report is provided to council and alternative accommodation options have been explored. It's obviously been well, actually, it's got to be approved by the previous seconder, doesn't it?
You have to see their endorsement.
No, that's if you're changing the
Okay,
original
cool,
motion.
no worries.
Yeah.
So Campbell's moved it. Do I have a seconder? No, okay, so that's lost. So we go back up to the top. So I'll reread those again. Council receives a notice of report on Pinaroo Retirement Village. Council complies with the Retirement Village 2016 by ensuring the land used for, used for the, well, for the Pinaroo Retirement Village is endorsed as such on the certificate of title, and 3, the council seeks exemption under Retirement Villages Act 2016 for Unit 3 Pinaroo Retirement Village to be used for the general rental market, and that an application is prepared and forwarded by the CEO to the Office of Ageing, Well and the Minister.
So we'll move a seconder on that.
Yes, all those in favour? No, I was looking at, so I didn't move it, I was looking at against. But. Righto, that gets us to page 26. Resolution status report. Mark,
Yes.
I'll probably just raise one note before we get into it. In reading that, I saw that 9.2 on page 37 or page 9 of the resolution report, which was Councillor Campbell Mitchell's Land and Building Asset Review, seemed to get a bit merged with a previous status report, because it started referring to in progress Liquid Pacific have commenced gathering the data and inspections, but that was actually to do with an original 8.5 from January 24, and that was completed in the last report, and that was here we go. So that was completed. So 8.5 on page 55. That was preferred contractor engaged and project to be completed as soon as possible. So that was actually Liquid Pacific doing those inspections and reports. So that's Liquid Pacific hasn't got anything to do with this motion. That's a separate thing, and that was a motion for us as quickly as possible to review the entire assets register and go over it and review it. So it's in progress, but it's got nothing to do with Liquid Pacific. Yeah, they seem to get conjoined, that was all. So that's just a note, a technical note more than anything.
We've got that, and therefore Liquid Pacific is a subset almost of this motion.
Yes.
But not the whole subset. This is called for a workshop.
Yes, that's it.
And the information that comes ultimately from Liquid Pacific will be fed into that as part of the workshop.
So I think if we're taking like that 8.5 on page 55, I think realistically back in January, we should have probably not let that be completed. It should have been stage 1 completed, which was the letting of the contract. And stage 2 would have been ongoing, because then it wouldn't have dropped off of the schedule. Didn't really think about that at the time. And this piece for Campbell's is completely separate. So I think it's maybe even worth getting that back on there for that reason. Because that's a big piece of work that's going to go on. Yeah, long time. Yeah. So sorry, that was my only note, so take it away. Now I'm completely confused.
No, it's not at all. There's some questions about some other status.
So probably, I mean, I'm assuming people have read it, so without you having to read through them all, it might be better if.
Do you want us added back in
I think that 8.5.
Just change it.
So that's 8.5 on page 55, because the problem is that number reappears later on from a different date.
Just the correction it's got to have.
Because you can have 8.5 many times over the course of a year.
Yeah.
So it was a council meeting 17th for the first 24 that we marked it as complete.
And
That was a good meeting, but when did we say it was complete?
That was the December report,
24.
and it went through on the January meeting.
so what date does it have for the actual action itself?
The status or the action?
The action, like the meeting date when it
17th of January 24.
You just have to change the status report, that's all.
Yeah, she needs to tick a box there to put it, tick a box to put it back into the. So 17.
I think that the only way I can get it back in there is to put it in this resolution.
Yeah, okay.
So I was gonna If that,
Well, perhaps being that the reports are getting done now, we'll just let this go until this report comes and we'll recreate it when that report gets brought to the chamber. It's just historically, this is how things have gone missing because you forget about it and something happens and then someone like it just gets lost. So do that, we'll leave that for this one. So I would suggest that we have a mover for the report as because this includes Lachlan's, maybe not so much Mark's. So the recommendation is council receives and notes the contents of this report. 2, determine that the resolutions identified in attachment 1 as complete have been accomplished and no further status report will be provided on those resolutions. So we'll do the moving and the seconding and then go around. So Neville move it, seconded. David? Okay, does anyone have anything that they want to raise in those completed ones that are not correct or any questions about them? No? All those in favour? Against? Carried? Thank you very much. There you go, save you that. Thank you. I tell you, below. Oh, I do this stuff. Live for it. So, page 42, questions on notice. We don't have any. Motions of notice, we don't have any. Questions without notice.
Just raise what I said about the Cuckin Road.
Yes, well, that question, you're just going to ask them to do something. I'm just thinking whether it's a question or whether it's a.
It's probably not.
I don't
Discussion.
Yeah, I actually think that's probably an email. Well, raise it, put it here anyway, so it gets on the record.
It was noted at the CFS group meeting on Monday night that number of regards and being there and the instances.
Where it is.
Whereas a Cuckin Road, the mess that we're looking at having to fix down there, that there's no point fixing it as it is. If we're going to actually do something down there, we need to change the whole corner setup on that road. Emergency service sort of pushed that forwards pretty hard, but it's at council. We've already had 2 deaths down there and a number of accidents. So whether that means getting state or federal funding in order to do something down there, but there's no point fixing it as a status quo. If we're going to do something, let's fix it.
You're talking about Drain South.
Target
Not
Welcome. Not Cuckin, sorry, Target Welcome.
Target Welcome. Drain South.
So it's something for the future.
So it's probably just to get it into the
System.
format.
Yeah.
And it's probably worth mentioning on that that has been raised in the chamber and in workshops previously. And the feedback was that corner was a result of grant funding, might have even been special local roads, I'm not sure. And that design was the only successful one because of restrictions that were around with
Native title.
native title and burial grounds and so forth, and that it was immovable. That was the outcome. But obviously with all these things happening down there, it would be interesting to see. And I think that was pushed at the time by Adrian Pedrick to get the funding. So if there is something that it'll be worth going back in the history to find through the engineering reports, you know, what's the go? Because I know that has been raised in the accident investigations as to, you know, it's because it's got a camber that's not, it's quite problematic.
There are three different sections, drawings of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, council would have it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm just saying, Ben, there's history there to delve through, and then if needs be, we can get politically
It's been
involved.
controversial when it was done, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, you'd like,
So through the chair, feel happy to do a bit of a traffic investigation on that and bring it back to council, potentially March. Happy with that?
that's good. Chris, you'd like that question, obviously, question without notice recorded?
Yes, please.
Yes.
So well,
so, yeah, and so we need to have a motion.
He doesn't have to have a motion, have a move or a second, it's just noted.
It won't come onto the actions list.
that's got a motion, so I'll bring back, that's good.
You just won't see it.
Yeah,
Yeah, if it's.
but if we got the commitment, the report will come back and the report will come through the agenda.
Technically,
So.
if you have a question without notice, it needs to be moved executive to be on the minutes.
Yeah, that's right. Another time.
Well, if it's,
Motion,
Chris is moving as a question on notice, I have a seconder, Trevor. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Against, carried, thank you, and then, yeah, that'll
Yeah.
be brought as a report, and the report will come in the agenda, which gets it on the official books. Thank you very much,
It's cold for a second.
Yeah.
Show.
Yes. Report.
Yeah, well, sorry, one slicker.
that one, the one going off and on, second in.
Oh, maybe not.
Yeah, it's the second one on the terrible road grading profile up there.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's probably the right one.
It's probably just.
Well, in a second,
Probably don't stick around.
Sorry, what road, what
Should
year
be
did you
used.
say you're going to bring that to?
March, traffic safety report to March.
It's joining South Road.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say.
It doesn't say.
Oh,
Could be anywhere in the
no,
territory.
Todd, it's driving south. Yeah, it's just.
Intersection.
And it's a traffic safety report, not a traffic investigation one. That gives it a whole different meaning, I think, in infrastructure work. Right. Beautiful.
I've got no question there.
Yeah, got a question. There's been, the signs that when the, which I was here the other day, asked how to get Karoonda. And I said, get to the town and see the signs that show Karoonda. There's only a little skinny green one there. Can we get a decent sign put up there to say Karoonda, up the Karoonda Road there? Because the driver of the minister didn't know, not minister, the governor didn't know how to get Karoonda. He asked me how you get there, and I said there should be a sign there, but I would check it down. It's only a little skinny green one. So
Wouldn't that be, being that that's all dip road, wouldn't that be a dip sign?
can we try to get one put there like
Yes.
Karoonda? So
We can ask it.
Yeah. and I guess you're still working at all other signs. I've seen plenty of other signs are still stuck, but you'll get them done eventually. So the Lameroo, there's a sign at Lameroo south of Wilco was there. The Lameroo sign was all faded, and Matthew took it away and he never replaced it. And that was about 3 years ago or 4 years ago. Can that have another sign put back there so that people go the right way instead of going down Prura Well Road?
Can I suggest you send that in through a works request via the website?
Okay,
So we
yeah.
actually
Yeah.
get a login rather than taking down your own. numbers.
Yeah, I'll just do that to you.
Use the
Yeah.
system. Thank you very much. Righto, so this, we're still on questions, yes, so yours will be motion.
Yeah, no.
My question is, we put money into a website for Southern Mallee, I went on there one time, there was no activity at all. Have you been on there, Campbell, or?
Yeah, my wife was actually talking about this the other day. Obviously, I have a conflict of interest with my wife did it.
Yeah.
And yeah, she was talking about the other day that we do need to get more interaction with that. And I think part of that is probably giving it to the administration so they can advertise it a bit.
And then we'll link across, so we can.
Yeah, and having some links, we need to do some SEO so that it links out to the wider people searching on Google, so it comes out of it.
I did try to search for it, Southern Mallee, and always come up with the council one.
Yeah.
And I had to ask Campbell how to access it, so.
Perhaps, could we as a administration, because we haven't.
She did have a conversation with Lachlan, and it's obviously, they had a bit of a plan, her and Nicole and Lachlan, about what they were going to do moving forward with it. But obviously with Lachlan moving on, I think it's got a bit lost.
Yeah.
And speaking of websites too, I reckon our website comes up with dogs straight away, bang, like that. And I reckon just put that down somewhere else.
Let's just, it's topical.
I know, change it now.
It was, sorry, there's two issues going on here. I'll answer the dog one first. The dog one was put up there deliberately.
Yeah, I know.
And if you're getting sick of it, then maybe others are as well. Would have been up there now for about a month, I reckon. We can probably minimise that and put it somewhere else
And even when you go to the next page, it still comes up.
Yeah.
There was about 3 things there that make the website very unwieldy because you've got to minimize them all.
I'll look at that one tomorrow. Dogs. Yep. and,
The other Southern Valley website that we put.
yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not. I'm-
Yeah, so there was.
Line to that one, I'm sorry.
So I think in line with the conversation that was there earlier from Tony about funding and grants, so council did a grant to a combination group between Pinaroo and Lameroo through Pinaroo Community Inc. and Lameroo Forward, I think, to create a website to have a community calendar amongst other things.
Right.
So money was done, an initial amount of money, and then there was two years of support for it. What I was going to suggest is it might be worth us requesting, there's never been a closeout presentation of council or anything, even for us, about what it looks like and what it does, and perhaps if we ask for that, our next meeting is at Pinaroo, so certainly Caroline's there. They could do a presentation, but at that time we could also see what may or may not be beneficially added to it to make it work a bit better. Otherwise, it'll just be another website and never gets used.
Yeah, I'm just not sure, like the Pinaroo, whatever that site is, that's fairly active in everybody's using it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So is a meeting perhaps before the council?
I think either a deputation or a presentation. I mean, we gave the grant funding, so in line with what Tony said, you know, that should have a closeout anyway. Like we've done the thing where we haven't actually had a presentation about the council, what it looks like. So I think it would be, is it under presentations? Is that what it comes up?
Bring there for deputations then.
I mean, it's not something that needs to be, you know, huge.
I did try to encourage her to do a deputation, but she got a bit of it.
Well, because that would close it out.
But I think that is the appropriate thing.
There's presentations on the.
Yeah, presentation.
So we could put it.
So I think if they were invited to do a presentation, there's certainly people that could come and help her with it, so that she's not with the line. She'll be, yeah.
But just if we've invested money in it, we've got to try and see that let people.
Well, we want it to work.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't have anything, so that's good. So now motions without notice.
Yeah, I got one. I move that we get a more detailed financial report on the retirement village over a longer period. In the report that was provided, it says in there that the data is skewed over the last 5 years because of the big construction projects. But then it went on to use that data as the basis for setting the rates we're charging those people. So that didn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. Like, these things have been there for 35 years or whatever, and we're only taking the last 5 years into consideration, which is the first time money was spent on them. I think we need to have a better view on what's going on there before we start making some decisions. Yeah, that'll do it. Because it also didn't include things like the move-in fees they pay when they move in, like how much that was. Didn't seem to be any in the last 5 years. Like, it didn't seem very comprehensive to me.
Do you want it over a longer period? Is that what you're asking for?
Yeah, over a longer period, I might.
Can we just, through the mayor, longer period, than 10 years? If we have those figures?
Can we, how far back do you reckon you can go?
I think that was the problem.
Yeah, it depends on how accurate the information is. I'm sorry, I don't know the system is well enough to be able to interrogate them to let you know how good the information is. This show has a handle on that. Yeah. How about we go back as far as we possibly can?
Just say it's this lifetime, but obviously if you go with information, you can't.
I think 35 years is probably unlikely to have any information beyond 10 years.
I did some works in there like about 5 years ago, and there were the original kitchens, like nothing had been touched in there for 35 years. Like,
You want over?
its lifetime, yeah.
When was it built? You don't know.
Around George Gummy, you reckon it's 88 or 90 or something?
Yeah, a lot of things, if I may, I think a lot of those records will be in state, probably in state records, to retrieve them. But we can certainly go back as far as we can.
Yeah, all costs, like it might show up that it's costing us a heap of money and that we should divest of it, but I think we need to have all the information there before we're making the decision. We need to be informed.
Right, so motion, that a more detailed financial report on the Pinaroo Retirement Village over its lifetime is provided to council. Moved by Campbell, do I have a seconder? Trevor? Does anyone want to speak to it? Probably the only thing I'd like to mention is that we've got the administration doing a lot of work. There's nothing on the table other than what we've already said to put someone into, one of our employees into that unit. I think this is a worthwhile thing. I'm not sure.
I'm not in a rush for this.
No, I was going to say, so I'd like to put a time frame that gets it well outside of the work we're doing now, so that it's not something they feel compelled to rush into. So if you, I don't know, I mean,
Well, 2030.
no, but you know what I mean, like, I think it's a valuable thing to do, but it needs to be done properly, it needs to have the time. With all the projects we've got going on that are quite significant, I don't even want to know what time to propose. I think it needs to be, Tony, I mean, it's your department linked with infrastructure, well, it's a bit of everybody really. But I can't,
early next financial year.
I think it's next financial year.
Tony's giving Tony this question.
Yes, Tony.
Yeah, possible solution might be we have to do a financial fiddle every year. Is that around September, October-ish? That might be a more appropriate timing, I have up-to-date figures. So say October, November.
Yeah, so Q4 2025. So that's October, November, December.
Yep.
Is that okay with you, Ken?
I'm fine with that.
Yep. Just put Q4, because that way, depending on when that acquittal is, we're not committing to a date that we don't know. So Q4 says between October, November, December, we've got to come to one of those meetings. So just by Q4, so that's Q4. That's just a normal reference for a calendar year.
Yeah, I was thinking of financial year, I thought that's Q2, I'm sure.
Where are we? And just put the year behind.
Yeah, Q4 2025.
Different priority.
Okay, all those in favour? Against? Carried, thank you.
Against it, because it should be clear, on this one.
Tom,
I'm done now.
the cost of David. Neville? No. Righto, Luke, now,
Yeah, we spoke about this.
yeah, so there's one coming up here which is going to be confidential, so I think do you mind me starting it so that we try and cover it off? So, can you just drop it down a second?
Oh, sorry, yeah,
Yeah, we're not
and
moving.
you're gonna move into,
Yeah, I thought I had, so, councillor Kennedy is going to move a, motion without notice. It's to discuss the issues around, SAS and the Lameroo and Pinaroo ambulance services. But it's going to be, detailed and referencing individuals, so for that reason we'll go into confidence. Because it needs to be in confidence at this point, and it's to reference us, asking council to send a letter to the minister. So that's as much as I'll say publicly, and we'll now ask the chamber to go into confidence. So I'm happy to move that. Do I have a seconder?
Yeah, right.
Neville, all those in favour? Against? Carried, thank you very much.